There are very few movie sequels that exceed their predecessors, but in the case of The Godfather, the sequel is often hailed better than the original. My personal preference is the original, but both films are masterpieces in the cinema canon. What's interesting about Godfather Part 2 is that it completes the story from Part 1. Godfather Parts 1 and 2 are actually based off of the Godfather book, but was split into two parts because of the length of the material. Coppola knew he wouldn't have been able to fit all of the source material in one film, and because of the first film's success, the sequel was immediately planned. The Godfather Part 2 continues the story of Don Michael Corleone, as he has taken over his father's empire. We see the Corleone family move into the gambling business in Nevada while they try hard to legitimize their business, moving away from politics, drugs, and prostitution. And even though Michael is trying to legitimize his family business, Michael commits heinous crimes of unspeakable fathom. He has people murdered left and right, and tries to eliminate all of his competitors. We also see Michael Corleone called to a Senate committee to answer for his family's violent crimes and acts of murder. In a parallel story, we see a young Vito Corleone as he migrates from Sicily to New York, growing up on the streets and becoming the Don from the first Godfather film. So half of the film focuses on Michael's rise to power, and the other half is his father's rise to power, which serves the movie as both a prequel and a sequel. Almost all of the actors involved in the film are the same from the first. However, during the prequel half of the movie, Don Vito Corleone is played by acting legend Robert De Niro, who won an Oscar for his amazing performance. And we also see, in a career-defining role, Bruno Kirby, who played Vito's best friend and business partner, Clemenza. Al Pacino is great as always, playing Michael, and Diane Keaton had an amazing story arc with Godfather Part 2. As Michael grows in power, he loses more of his humanity, and we see the relationship between Michael and Kay completely fall apart. Take this powerful scene, where Kay tells Michael that she had her own son aborted because she didn't want him to end up like Michael.
And you'll forget about this miscarriage, and we'll have another child, and we'll go on. You and I. We'll go on.
Oh, Michael. Michael, you are blind. It wasn't a miscarriage. It was an abortion. An abortion, Michael. Just like our marriage is an abortion. Something that's unholy and evil. I didn't want your son, Michael. I wouldn't bring another one of your sons into this world. It was an abortion, Michael. It was a son, and I had it killed because this must all end. I know now that it's over. I knew it then. There would be no way, Michael. No way you could ever forgive me. Not with this Sicilian thing that's been going on for 2,000 years. Oh!
Another intense scene involves Michael's brother Fredo, who betrays him to a rival crime family. Michael confronts Fredo during a New Year's party, and in the iconic moment, he confesses to his brother the ultimate betrayal.
There's a plane waiting for us to take us to Miami in an hour, all right? Don't make a big thing about it. I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
Michael kissing Fredo is just a glimpse of foreshadowing of the shocking and evil turn where Michael has sold his soul to the devil. Of course, the most memorable parts of this nearly 4-hour film are the flashback sequences where we see Vito becoming the original Godfather. We find out that a Don named Finucci runs the neighborhood where Vito is growing up in, and Finucci is a corrupt and evil man who terrorizes the town. In one of the best scenes of the Godfather franchise, we see Vito murder him outside his apartment, ending the horrific legacy of Don Finucci. De Niro wraps a towel around his pistol, which helps silence the sound of the gunshot, which leads to a spool of hellfire.
We're fine.
If you look at both parts of Godfather 1 and 2, you can clearly see that Michael's rise to power mimics his own father's. We see their rise and their downfalls, but Michael's downfall doesn't end with 2, but 3. However, the end of Godfather Part 2 is the most haunting ending in movie history, as Michael decides to have his own brother murdered. And as a consequence, it carries over into Part 3. Like Godfather 1 had the climactic murder of the 5 families, Part 2 ends with a string of murders and finally his own brother, which shows that Michael is truly an evil man, who once started as a nice, good-natured person. The Godfather Part 2 is just as good, if not better, than the original. It was the first sequel to ever win an Academy Award for Best Picture, and its status as being one of the greatest films of all time is a shoo-in. Great movies have since tried to capture the essence of both Godfather 1 and 2. We see these themes imitated in The Dark Knight, or even something more simple like the television show Breaking Bad. The Godfather set the tone for gangster films and set the bar extremely high for sequels in general. The Godfather legacy rests on these 2 parts, and whether you are a fan of the 3rd film or not, at least there is some closure and ending to the greatest crime films ever made.